Oh my God, Brad Garlinghouse is a consensus, and we talk about rules. Gary Gensler, the XRP ETF, the Ripple case, the future of the Ripple stablecoin institutions and banks. This conversation talks about a lot of things. Please bear with me through this whole thing. I'll tell you about my background. Let's begin. On the first day of the meeting, we told everyone that you are putting another $25 million into Fairshake. This is a professional coin pack, plus the $25 million you gave them last year. Tell me about why you picked Fairshake and how this investment fits into your bigger point. For crypto, it's very important that the US has policies and rules that are competitive with other countries. That's not where we've been today, though. There have been a lot of times when regulations have been very harsh. We should have worked to make things clear and set clear rules, but I think the SEC under Gensler has sometimes made things more confusing. Yes, by bringing cases that sometimes go against each other. Yes, I back Fairshake even more and want to make it clear that we will keep doing what we're doing. It's really about electing people who are pro-crypto, pro-innovation, and focused on protecting consumers. That's what we think will really move the whole plan forward and bring us up to speed with what we've seen in other markets around the world. To sum up quickly, the Brad Garlinghouse Ripple is putting money into a super PAC that helps crypto-friendly politicians on both the Republican and Democratic sides of the aisle. I just wanted to give you some background. Then RFK will speak later today. He's at almost all of the events I go to. At the same time, Trump spoke at the Libertarian National Convention in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. People booed her, things that support crypto. More and more people see him as a crypto option. At the same time, Biden seems to be changing his mind about crypto, at least that's what people in the field think. Crypto is being talked about more than ever before, this time around for the presidential race. Do you have any thoughts on that? When I thought about that, I'd say it's a magical time to be alive. When I first got really into crypto 10 years ago, I couldn't have guessed what we're seeing now, of course. But I also feel like it's the march of growth that can't be stopped. These technologies can make a lot of ways that transactions are handled better, faster, and cheaper. They can also make them more open. So for me, it's just that growth. We have technology that should have been backed by both parties, but it became partisan in some way. It really struck me that Elizabeth Warren stood out and spread what I think was false information by saying that everyone who uses crypto is doing bad things. And there is nothing more false than that. Sarah Warren is running for Senate against John Deaton. I want John Deaton to win. He is running for office as a Republican. I'd really rather not have to look at Elizabeth Warren's face. She told a lot of lies. Lies spreading about the crypto market. She and Gary Gensler make up a P and two pods. I'll be glad when they're both gone in 2025. There are tens of millions of people in the United States who want crypto to be regulated, and politicians are one of them. They should work together across party lines, like they did with the Fit 21 bill. Brad Garlinghouse is worn out. I think about this guy. He's had to deal with this stupid court case for more than 3 years, where they should have sued Ethereum because it was, and still is, a lot more controlled than it was at the time. Also, Brad and Ripple have had to fight for years on their own, with only the XRP army to help them. As of late, there has been more support for Ripple, and it's about damn time. There are a lot of examples right here at this meeting of amazing entrepreneurs making amazing tools that can make financial transactions go more quickly. And look, some parts of our banking system were made 50 or 60 years ago. Now is the time to bring it into the internet age for the good of both customers and companies. And I think it's silly to try to stop that progress, that march toward progress that will always happen. In that light, the fact that it has become a presidential issue doesn't really surprise me. A lot of heat is present. I'm sure you felt it too. A lot of people are really into this business, and they will vote what they think. That's important to me. There are a lot of polls that show that voters in swing states are becoming more interested in digital assets. This is good news for Rosas, because there is a lot of pro-crypto legislation on its way to Congress. For example, SB 21 was passed by the House last week, which shows that more Democrats support these laws. That has made people more optimistic, let's be honest. Republicans have pushed for crypto to be used in the US. Most Democrats just now getting on board with crypto. Some Democrats were on board from the start, but now they see how many people support crypto and don't want to lose votes in November. It's kind of sad that we've had to put up with Gary Gensler rubbing it in for 4 years while Biden was president and people in the United States were living there. People of the United States, Gary Gensler has been jerking us around, and we're sick of it. Democrats know that this could have a big effect on the polls in November, which is why they made the quick change. Okay, let's finally sign that bill. Let's pass that bill and start making more bills that will help the business grow and do well and also keep customers like you and me safe. Will these things be finished and put into law by the end of the year? How hopeful are you? I think it's unlikely that it will happen before the election. We've all seen how slowly and carefully congressional progress moves. I'm really happy with how far we've come in just 3 weeks. And I think the last 2 or 3 weeks may have been the most important in the history of crypto in the US. Still, I think that the bill might not be passed until after the election, maybe before the end of the year, or more likely in the first half of next year. If you don't know what I mean, the House decided to pass this bill. The Senate will hear it. To pass the bill, the Senate would need a majority. There must be both Republicans and Democrats in your group. And after that, it will be sent to the president to be signed. This will only happen in the next few months. After that, Biden would have to sign the bill into law. Biden has said that he will sign the bill if it gets to his desk. At this point, I believe it would be foolish for him not to, as it would turn even more people against the Democratic Party. That if crypto is the only thing you think about when you vote in 2024, it could change the minds of a lot of people. I see this as very, very good because the US government is now taking a different view of this. And while the Biden government hasn't made any official decisions yet, you have heard some of their rhetoric become less harsh, as you said earlier. I think it's because people know this is a very important issue to a lot of people, and to be honest, it's become a bit partisan, and in a very close race, this could make the difference. They were basically pulled kicking and screaming into approving it because of court decisions. So I think they knew the same thing would probably happen if they didn't back and approve the ETH ETF. That's another thing I think is very good. On Capitol Hill, however, the SEC lost with the vote on SAB 121. It's clear that they lost the wave case. I believe Gensler has taken the wrong method to regulating this industry, and he hasn't done the work that other countries have done to make things clear and set rules for everyone. Frameworks, whether it's in the UAE, Japan, or the UK, but we haven't done that in the US. It was mostly seen as a win for Ripple over the SEC, but the fight with the SEC is still going on. It was a complicated choice the judge made. In this case, they said that XRP was not a token for everyday use. For organizations, things were different. What's going on with that case now? The judge made it very clear that XRP is not a security by itself. This is what the court said. That's all we care about. Yes, that meant, these are tools that should be able to live, grow, and thrive. And again, it's the march of those tools, the progress that I see. We think that the case between Ripple and the SEC is mostly over. I think most of that went to Ripple. In one case, the judge ruled that institutional sales in something called an investment contract were unregistered security sales because the contract could be a security. We've reached the end of the let's say a half mile of that race. I hope that things will get better this summer. The SEC wanted $2 billion in fines. I think that number will be in the millions, not the billions. Again, I think it's a bad idea to ask for that when there has been no charge or finding of fraud, careless behavior, or any of those other things. In the other towns they've worked on, only a small part of what was at stake was shown. For that reason, I think it's just a show. To give you some background, the SEC asked for $2 billion. The amount of money that Ripple has on hand is about $3 billion. A lot of lawyers and other pros who have been following the Ripple case think that Jeremy Hogan said between $50 million and $100 million. So I guess you should listen to the pros, right? I'm not a lawyer, which is why I'm going to let Jeremy Hogan drop that fact. I believe he said around 100 million. That sounds good then. Finally, we could move on and see where this leads us. You're now in the stablecoin game. It's pretty busy. $200 billion. Come on. The market cap of all the players, including Tether, USDC, and others. Why now? You're probably right if you look at where the market is going. Today, it's between $150 billion and $200 billion. It's expected to be between $2 trillion and $3 trillion. That's 10 to 20 times the growth it is now. That's kind of fun on its own, and those are fun markets that are growing quickly. The second thing is that I think market share will change. By far, Tether is the best right now. Of course, we can argue about whether the US government is worried about Tether and how it works outside of the US as a US dollar. For better or worse,